Hi everyone, I'm Mal, this is AJ. I'm the head coach here at GKA DOJO. AJ is one of the coaches here as well. Your teacher, your lecturer has asked us to give you an introduction to self-protection or self-defense. So I guess you're thinking straight away it's going to be a lot of this, a lot of that. Yeah, and we'll get to those bits, but the first thing you've got to consider to do with any self-protection is the situations that you put yourself in. So think about your friends, and your friends now are the ones that would egg you on if there was a fight. Are they always around when something bad's going to happen? Are they the first person to be showing you on Instagram or any of the social network platforms? Because if they are, you might be thinking to yourself, that's what's going to get you in a lot of problems, not because you're actually finding yourself in problems. We've got some young people who attend with us during the daytimes instead of coming to school. And what they say to us, that the majority of the problems tend to end up in, fields, out in the streets, in lanes, that type of stuff.
Corridors.
And corridors and schools. So basically anywhere that there's no supervision. So you've got to think about this, right? If that's where they happen, it's usually planned, not necessarily planned by you, but planned by people that possibly for these fights where egos got involved. So you've got to put your ego out there to think to yourself, could you walk away? Bullies set the rules. Maybe I was in school a long time ago, but things don't change that much. Bullies don't want you to grass, that's what they called it, snake, whatever you want to call it. Because if you do, they can't hit you. Because there's going to be people around. It might make things worse for you, but only for a little bit of time with those bullies or within those groups. If teachers know what's going on, if people in your school, your college know what's going on and that you've got problems, if it did ever happen, you're going to know that you can stand up for yourself because people are going to have your back. They're aware that you're scared. You're aware that things are not going right for you. So tell someone. Rule number one. Right, rule number two. When it comes to conflict, we need to understand something. You're going to get hit. There's no situation where you come out with no scrapes, no bumps, no bruises in a real conflict. So as soon as you can get in your mind that you're going to have to do something and there's a potential that you're going to get hurt, this will help you to understand how the adrenaline works. Okay? Martial arts and self-protection are very different. You can become a martial artist and not be very good in a fight. Because in a martial art, you'll spend a very long time learning things over and over again so it becomes natural in your muscle memory. Do you need skills that are going to help you get out of a scrape? You're going to need skills that will actually deal with your attacker. The biggest advantage that you can have is a psychological advantage. And this comes down to understanding your personal space. So just recapping, first thing, have I told someone? Yes, I have. Back in my mind, feeling like I've got support if something did go wrong. Don't put myself in the wrong position. Just make sure I'm not listening to the idiots, you know what I'm talking about. The people who are trying to goad you on, they try and get you involved. Don't listen to those people. Now I find myself in a situation where I'm cornered because that's what's going to happen. After you've taken out all of these elements, your attacker's going to have to come and find you. They're going to have to put themselves in a situation where they could possibly get in trouble because it looks like they're the aggressor. And that's good for you. So what we have to do is be able to spike that adrenaline. So if I turn around to my attacker and I bring my hands down, this communicates that I'm not really bothered, right? Whereas in this one makes it look like stop, all right, in this space, but it's offering up parts of my body to be able to be grabbed, okay? Sometimes we want that, sometimes we don't. But the number one thing that you should be doing is communicating that actually you don't want to get in trouble, you don't want to fight. Okay, so don't turn your back on the person if they're approaching you. Keep your eye on them the whole time. Let's say that myself and AJ, we've got some sort of problem. AJ's almost within my personal range. Could he hit me from here? I don't know. He easily hit me from here, right? So it needs to start way up before that, because in practice of law, reasonable force comes down to that someone enters your personal space, or what you consider as your personal space. So at the minute, if I've got an intent from him, non-verbals, eye contact, okay, so in other words, and they're moving towards me, I'm gonna have to say to him straight away that I'm not interested. So if AJ comes like that, I'm like, no mate, no. And I'm gonna reinforce what I'm saying, okay? Because straight away, it's not comfortable being touched. you're going to think to yourself, well, this is going to start the fight, right? It's already started. You need to understand that. If someone is coming towards me, I could use what they're going to use to me. So let's look at it the other way around. If AJ was the aggressor and I'm here thinking, what do I do? What do I do? Okay, AJ automatically, what, you want to go? It's got the advantage. What am I doing? I'm walking backwards. So I'm thinking, oh my God, what do I do? I'm at a massive disadvantage if I'm going to have to strike or I'm going to have to grab or do something when I'm going backwards. As soon as the person steps in your personal space, it's no, no. Right, so task number one. What I want you to do with your partner, okay, is I want you to get close to your partner where you feel there is what we consider an intimate space. So in other words, where you feel threatened, okay? As soon as they step towards you, you just stop, push them backwards and threaten them. You say no, no, okay? Seems a bit silly when you first do it. So there's your first activity. 1 minute, each person, go. Okay, you did a great job, well done. So now we have to think to ourselves that not only if I pushed and to create space, that they will return. We don't know whether they're going to be throwing punches or whether they're going to grab. So let's say in the next scenario that they're going to throw a strike, okay? So looking at me right now, if you were to throw a punch and then I move backwards, the range means there's a good chance that you're going to be able to hit me. So what we're going to do is straight from this position, a standing position, is that we're going to thrust forwards. Okay, so you notice that I'm covering my head here. So what I'm going to do when he goes is to push forwards with the arms. Standing still, doing nothing means that I could bring my arm up, but I'm going to be going backwards. I'm stepping straight in, bang. And you get this ricochet towards your head. But what you've got now is the arm held in a great position. Normally on self-defense courses, you start with things like breakaways. Breakaways are literally where you return your arm back to you. So it says the same arm with this sort of thing, right? And then you're trying to pull. Right? There's lots of that, but what that doesn't take into account is that as soon as you pull your arm away, you've still got to deal with the person. And that's why I said shooting in, closing the distance is much, much safer. That includes every other thing from wild hooks to kicks. As long as you're moving in and covering yourself, you remain safe. As long as I'm stepping in, this elbow is going to take the majority of the force. You can move, and he's not going to keep his arm there. There's a good chance he's probably going to come back or something. He's going to bring his arm down here, or he's going to try and bring it back out to keep hitting me. And just attack, just get involved straight away. All right, hold it that position, take the leg, okay, and there we go, he's on the ground. Have a go. 2 minutes for this one. The situation that I said about bringing your hands up does mean sometimes if you get the space wrong, that they will grab your arms. So like I was saying before, I was like, no, that does leave this one arm out, okay? If I was caught flat-footed and I got my hands up like this is basically what's gonna happen, is the person's gonna grab you and potentially they could be headbutting you. Okay. So what we need to think about is that when we're in this position, is that we know that they potentially could headbutt you. So you bring your chin down, then bring your arms down, okay? When you bring your chin down, head down, arms down, then they're gonna hit here if they did try to headbutt. I'm gonna show you this one for real, okay? These are the headguards that we use a lot. So if I'm saying no age, and he grabs here, knowing he's gonna headbutt, there's the top of my head. If I keep my face here, now I've got problems. I've got a broken nose, and I have already. So we bring that arms down this way. Okay, see what my shoulders shrug up, and then headbutt through. He reacted, and he wasn't expecting that. Okay, right, so the head's here. I'm like, no, that's enough to finish the person off. So this is what you're gonna do. Hands down, head down, step forwards, and then use the elbow. If I do this and then push, that would be enough. Okay, so let's try that again. Arms grabbed, headbutt. Okay, reaction of that and push forwards. Arms stay in this position. If there was an altercation, you know, you'd have to be able to defend yourself from there, and practicing individual strikes to pads is good fun. All right, so give that a go. If you've got pads, have a go at some direct shots from this position. Okay, so the last point to summarize is that each time we have to make a conscious decision in our defense. If I brought my arms down, headbutted, and I just started swinging, there's a good chance that I could fall on the wrong side of the law because I haven't shown reasonable force. So another factor that is something that needs to be considered when it comes to conflict is that when I'm trying to defend myself, I need to communicate with my friends that there could be possible problems. If you've got a concern, you just say, look, you know, I've got a bit of a problem. I'm a bit worried about these guys here. If in a situation that it goes, oh, please allow me to defend myself. And what I mean by that is, let's say that I'm trying to defend myself, which is my legal right, okay? And I push somebody, it looks like I'm starting the fight if you came in at that point. My friends might not want me to get involved as well. So you imagine as I'm saying no, and I'm stood there here, AJ's my friend, wants to pull me backwards to separate the fight. Consider this one. He means well by doing this, but automatically as soon as he's grabbed me, this has stopped me from being able to defend myself and gives my attacker a free shot. I'm going to say to AJ, please let go. He's not going to. So I'm going to bring my hand on the inside, okay, here, and I'm going to take my cut-in part of my hand or the outside of my arm towards. So I'm just going to push this away to break his grip, okay? So let's see that again. As soon as he's grabbed, put your hand on the inside, push his hands off, you know, and we can continue to defend ourselves. I'll show you by myself. It's hand here, turn away to create a gap, and push away. So one on the inside, one on the outside, and push away. So let's try that one. 2 minutes. Next one. We've dealt with obviously the shooting in, throw into the floor. It doesn't really matter with that as long as you stop that shot, okay? So as long as I'm stepping in, this elbow is going to take the majority of the force. You can move, and he's not going to keep his arm there. There's a good chance he's probably going to come back or something. He's going to bring his arm down here, or he's going to try and bring it back out to keep hitting me, okay? So keep your arm on the inside, okay? This could be an issue. If it doesn't work, you've got options, okay? And the head, for instance, is quite often what happens when people don't know what they're doing. We're going to reverse the role now, all right? So AJ's going to grab hold of the head. All right, so the tighter the crank on my head, the more chance he's got of obviously controlling my head. So what I've got to do is take his body weight onto one leg, okay? So this leg has got all the weight on it. As I do that with this arm, I take this leg off the floor, okay? And all I'm going to do is step backwards. That doesn't mean that the person's going to let go, all right? They might still have your head here, okay? So we'll deal with that in a moment. So give that a go and we'll see how you get on. I was saying that having this problem with this, can't really get your head out, but I can still grip, okay? So this is a much tighter grip for throwing him down, but he's got all my head, which means I'm going to go to the floor. I could change this grip to somewhere else, which will make him a bit more concerned about grabbing my head. He might forget if you grab here, easy one, right? Problem with wait until you're down on the ground, it's a lot harder to do that. So make sure if you're going for a groin grab, make sure you do it while you're standing. I need to show that I've regained control. So this down, headbutt in, that shows a defense. That was a defense to a headbutt or a potential headbutt, one strike, it's dealt with it. If my attacker comes in again, fine, next I get hit. But again, don't lose control. And at every opportunity, you need to try to leave the situation to get support or get help. This all comes down to what preparation you've put in. Keep yourself safe, Tell people about your feelings. Tell people in your life what's going on. Don't hold it to yourself. Tell people in the school. Schools have got professionals to help you to deal with this. And if they're not being used, you're leaving yourself in a very difficult situation. Hope you've learned a few things. I'm Mal, this is AJ, this is Dojo Training Services, and we'll see you soon. Thanks very much.